I really want to dedicate this fiber and fellowship space to those who, like, that's what they're seeking out. They want to do this for the sake of their kids, for the sake of, you know, their kid in 10 years, being able to have this skill and make their future families and friends clothes and mend their clothes. Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. My name's Dayna, and I'm coming to you from the woods of northern Illinois, and I am going to come sit and knit and chat with you for a little bit. If you would like to grab your knitting, you can come and knit along, and it'll kind of be like we're knitting together and having a little chat. I today am knitting a very simple scarf, and this is actually because of a project that I've been working on. And it's not for everybody, so if you do not have children or grandchildren or nieces and nephews or young cousins or any children of any kind in your life, then this is not really news for you. However, if you do, I have started a new YouTube channel. It's called Fiber and Fellowship, and it is all about teaching kids how to knit. So let me explain that a little bit. It is not a YouTube channel that you can put your kids in front of and I will sit there and teach them how to knit, although I do have tutorials that way that are meant for everybody. But this is more for educating the parents, the grandparents, the aunts, the cousins, the neighbors who have kids in their lives who they would like to pass down the skill of knitting to. I've noticed it in our country, in our culture, in the USA. I can't speak for other countries and other cultures, but here in the US, we really don't knit. Not a lot of people knit. And it seems to have been a skill that wasn't passed down. I think it might have skipped at least 2 generations as far as a skill that was taught growing up. Now, this is a blanket statement. This isn't true for every family. I'm saying as a culture in whole. The amount of people who I see and they mention to me that they wish they knew how to knit is very large. Most people my age, most people the generation just above me, most people even my parents' generation, they never were taught how to knit. But it is definitely something that used to be passed down in homes. It used to be passed down in churches, in communities, and I do think that we overall have very much lost that here. And knitting to me is interesting because it kind of serves many purposes. It is art, it is a hobby, a craft, it is a skill. It's historic, it's timeless, it's been here for forever. Not forever maybe, but it's been around for a very long time. And I don't see knitting as just a fad and a trend. And it makes me kind of sad that we have lost that. I mean, I didn't learn to knit until I was 20, I believe, 19 or 20. And it's just not something that's done anymore. It's very much, most people don't know how to knit here. So that's my long-winded explanation for wanting to pass down the skill of knitting, the art of knitting, and the hobby of knitting to the younger generations. Now, it's interesting because we do have social media, and in some ways we are very connected and through the internet and all that. So even though we may not be getting together in our towns and in our churches and in some homes learning this kind of thing, I think it is something that, well, it is something that I am passionate about, being able to bring out to those who don't have it via the internet. And it is something that I think is important that we are still able to pass on. So, like I said, it's kind of more of a I'm going to say mother education, but like I said, grandparents and aunts and uncles, and it's educating our children, teaching our children how to knit, while also maybe learning alongside them if you don't know how to knit. Now you're watching this channel, so I'm assuming you know something about knitting, but there are so many people who don't know anything about knitting, and they wouldn't even know knitting compared to crocheting. And so just teaching those who do know how to knit, maybe some simple ways to introduce that to their kids, and teaching those who do know how to knit, and having them just walk alongside their kids and learn to knit together. I just think there are so many benefits to knitting, and it bonds you. It's great for your mind, your body, just lots of benefits of knitting. And I really feel like it's something that I would like to dive into to talk about further with those who are interested in teaching their kids how to knit. So that is Fiber and Fellowship. Now, I have an Instagram page. It is at Fiber and Fellowship, all like no special characters or anything in that. And then there's also a Facebook group called Fiber and Fellowship. I also have some resources on my blog. There's also I'm going to be doing and releasing some classes, some ebooks, a lot of free stuff, because this is something that I want accessible to whoever wants it, regardless of price or anything like that. So lots of things coming towards those who are hoping to teach their kids to knit, and also less of that here. And I think it's always a hard one when you're talking about, when you add children into whatever it is you're talking about that doesn't normally involve children, like knitting. Some people are very strongly like, I read the comments, I've seen the strong opinions about, well, you're talking about kids and I don't have kids, so you're not for me. And yeah, that's fine if you feel that way, but I am a mother of 4 kids, so it will come up. But at the same time, I really want to dedicate this Fiber and Fellowship space to those who, like, that's what they're seeking out. They want to do this for the sake of their kids, for the sake of, their kid in 10 years being able to have this skill and make their future families and friends clothes and mend their clothes and make things to gift and, just serve their communities that way. And so this is more for those who are seeking that, are wanting that and desiring that. So the Seal Farmhouse is going to continue. The YouTube channel is going to continue to be just about the knitting. Like I said, it is part of my life that I have children, and so I can't promise that I will not talk about knitting something for them, for example, this scarf. But as far as directly talking about teaching kids to knit, that'll be over on Fiber and Fellowship. So if you're interested in that, then make sure you go over and subscribe to that YouTube channel. I will link it down below. And then also over on YouTube. Now, the Seal Farmhouse website is kind of the hub for all the things I do, between knitting patterns, things on YouTube, and different blog related topics. So you will be able to look around on there. There's categories directly towards teaching kids to knit. There's categories directly towards seasonal knitting or just slow knitting. All sorts of things, easy to just get, hopefully easy to get to the place that you want to be. But that's what I wanted to share with you, is that specific resource is coming this way, or has already come by the time I've published this video, coming this way in fall of 2024. So I'm very excited about that. Now, this scarf is one that I'm working on that's for these children to learn how to knit. So assuming they've already learned how to make the basic knit stitch and all the different things having to do with learning the knitting basics and the terminology and how to hold your needles, how to knit and tension and gauge and all that stuff. So this is kind of the first project that I will have the kiddos be working on. Now, I'm very excited. I've walked through all of this with 2 of my kids now, and they have moved on to knitting other things, but I'm also going to be revisiting this year with my 3rd. She has shown a lot of interest in learning how to knit. She asked me if she could knit with pencils the other day. So we'll start her off with some finger knitting, finger crocheting, that kind of thing, and hopefully move on there. She's 4, and so a little bit young to, I think, just maturity-wise, to have her sit and knit, but you never know. She could have a big growth spurt and just be ready to learn a few stitches. Or one really great thing for teaching kids how to knit and you're not quite sure if they're ready, besides finger knitting and finger crocheting, is to have her wrap the yarn. So maybe I'm the one holding the needles, but she can grab this tail or this working yarn. She can work on wrapping that for me. She can work on wrapping that one for me. And so that's the kind of thing we'll be doing this fall. But yes, I wanted to share that because it is fall. We are getting into the colder seasons here in the US. And if you're interested in that kind of resource, then it's there, it's coming, and more of it's coming. So yeah, but that's all I have to share today, and I'm excited to check in with you guys soon with my Lakey socks progress, and I'm pulling out some projects that I haven't worked on all summer long, like my winter honey shawl, some socks I was designing. My Lakey socks are in here, and soon it's time to get working on our family Christmas stocking. So lots of fun things as we move into the warm weather here, the cold weather here. I need to warm up, and so I hope you're doing well, and thanks for knitting and chatting with me.